Something something clever intro.
That's a 10 out of 10 intro there, buddy.
10 out of... I was working all week on that, dude.
Did you? I actually put thought into my intros, but I always end up like turning into a giggly mess and fucking it all up.
Yeah, you ruin all your intros, and I hate you. So you're not allowed to do them anymore.
Really? See, I always pick the good topics, but do the bad intros, and that's probably why our videos don't get any views on YouTube, right?
Yeah. That's probably it.
Yeah,
you gotta hook them, dude. You gotta reel them in.
Reel them in. I thought that's why I wrote.
Yeah.
That's why I did the music. I thought the music did it.
No, everybody hates that music, dude.
Oh, have you actually gotten negative feedback on it?
No, we haven't got a single comment on any of our videos. Please, fucking, like, even if it's mean, just comment. I just want to know you're out there.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't you tell them this week's topic?
Jobs. We're talking about jobs.
Fucking
which will hopefully be more interesting than just talking about currency. I don't know why we didn't choose to turn the currency podcast into the jobs podcast. That would have been like a good way to sort of like have a through line.
I feel like the currency podcast, we just spent the whole time trying to get out of the conversation on currency and onto something else.
Yeah. No, that was what you were doing. I was desperately trying to hold on to the topic because I thought we needed to be consistent. But yeah, that was episode 2, right? So that's that like a horrible fiasco was when we decided not to like stick to topics.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
but our springboard topic at least today is jobs, and maybe we can stay on that one because you've got like 5 years worth of work experience. I think I've got 4 to 5. I'm not sure. But we've both worked several jobs, and they sucked, and we can talk about that. So,
yeah.
Zed, since you started working like a year before I did, I think I'll let you start with your first job, and then I'll talk about my first job.
Okay, my first job, I stuck with it for about 3 years, and I worked in a kitchen at my college. So what happened was I was talking with a buddy of mine. I was like, man, I need to find a fucking job. I need to start making that money, because I'm fucking determined. And he's like, I'll just give you my shifts at the kitchen. I was like, okay. So I went in, got my shift. I was a bar runner, and that meant I stocked the salad bar, I swept the floor, I cleaned the counters, I restocked the drinks, I cleaned the tables, I picked the dishes to the dish room that people left, I cut and served meat, and I helped serve. I was the kitchen bitch.
The bitchin'.
The kitchen bitchin'. So I did that 2 times a week, making $80 every 2 weeks. And I eventually worked my way up to getting almost 20 hours a week, making roughly $480 to $500 a month. And then I quit, but I met some great people.
How many hours were you working, did you say?
Almost 20. I'd have to dig out an old check stub, and I think those are all destroyed by now.
Yeah.
But I was working 5 nights a week in the kitchen, starting out.
Did you have fun?
I eventually had fun because it had its ups and downs. Like the bar running was a definite down, but a definite up would be the substation and pizza station. So there, towards the end of my kitchen career, I was a pizza chef, and I worked at a pseudo Subway at the very end of the kitchen. Now
Hell yeah.
The pseudo Subway was a fucking nightmare, but I eventually figured out that I could troll people because, like, my college is roughly 80% athletes, probably higher than that, and they all want to go to the substation to get their lean meats, their tuna salad, their spinach, and their flatbread.
Okay.
And they all said spinach and flatbread and tuna in the same way, like. They say flatbread, go flatbread, spinach, tuna, and I just heard that on fucking repeat. And
what, was that like a meme they were doing? Because it's not a funny one.
That's just what I heard. Like, I'm telling the story. And it got to me eventually. And so I started fucking with them, and I can't even remember what I did at this point, especially since I'm on the spot. But the pizza gig was fun, and that's really all I have to talk about it, unless you want to hear some horror stories from when I worked dish room.
Not unless they're like interesting.
It really was a boring job, especially since I kept to myself. I mean, I could talk about pizza recipes. I can talk about having to work the dish room alone at nighttime. I could talk about my pet peeves, but it really was a shitty job. And it was one of those jobs where the pay sucked, the hours sucked, the work sucked, but the people were so good that you stayed with it.
Yeah.
And that's a big reason why I'm on grounds right now, because I would always sneak cookies and sneak french fries and sneak food, and I got a free meal after work, and I got really fucking fat off of it.
Oh, dude, I was the same way with two of my jobs, but okay. Well, is there anything else to say about being a bitchin'?
No, the kitchen bitchin', it was just a grindy nightmare. There's not much else to talk about it.
Okay. I stayed at my first job for a year and a half.
Walmart?
So, yeah, my first job was Walmart. And so, okay, we'll talk about my senior year of high school. I was pretty depressed.
That's because I wasn't there.
I'm depressed like every other year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had a good year this year. And
it's because I'm here.
Not looking forward to 2019.
It'll be fine. I'll be there.
Yeah. Keep me sane. But nobody was there. My senior year of high school, I gained a lot of weight, and all my friends had graduated, and I hated all my classes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of just sad constantly, and just sat there and didn't say anything to anybody. I'd come out of my shell a little bit by this point, but just like I was just too depressed to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I just sat there all year, and I got fat, and I didn't care about anything, and I would draw in class, and I just, drawing was my escape at that point in my life.
Yeah.
And so, finally I graduated, and I think I talked before in the school episode about how I graduated on a technicality because I didn't pass a required class. I didn't have the credits I needed, but they didn't have the amount of students graduating that they needed, so they graduated me so that they could keep getting funding.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, whatever. It's a broken system. I don't care about it anyway. Like, I don't care to cheat it.
Oh, yeah, just to get out of fucking high school, especially the one we went to.
Yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, if I could have just dropped out and gotten my GED, if my parents would have let me do that, I would have a long time ago. Sorry, what?
I don't know. I stuck with it because I got to thinking about it. It seemed like the kind of thing I'd look back and regret. So that's why I stuck with it.
Well, the only thing about high school that mattered to me was the social aspect, and after my junior year, that was gone.
My bad.
Yeah. But okay, so when I graduated, I was I had a girlfriend at the time. It was another long distance relationship, and
have I met this one?
And on the last day of no.
Okay.
No, I had a lot of like online girlfriends that I never even got to meet in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, that's just the thing introverts do. I guess they go to the internet and they just date somebody.
They have,
which is weird. Like that was so like fucking. Why even bother? But
they have AI for that now.
AI.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a little while. But yeah. So I was, and I think I didn't. Oh yeah, they had a cell phone blocker at the school, or I didn't even have like a cell phone plan. I can't remember. Yeah, I think I didn't have a cell phone at this point. Like I had an iPod. And so I had to be connected to Wi-Fi to even like use it. So I couldn't talk to her while like I was at school. And so I remember like on the last day of school, like nothing special happened, and I was like just kind of really sad. Like it was just like another day. Like they still held class. Like they didn't make us do anything, but just like because all finals were already done and all that shit. And fucking. So the day just passed by. I just sat there feeling fat and sad, and then like I get home to Wi-Fi and like I get a breakup message from this girl, and I think I went and like beat the shit out of a tree just because I like had really conflicting emotions, and I'm going on with this part too long, but the point was I was really sad. So like I wasn't thinking straight, and I was like, oh, high school's over. What do I do now? I guess I go to college. And, like, I didn't really want to go to school. There was nothing I wanted to major in. So I was like, I'll just go to the community college here in town, and I'll do my basics, and maybe after I've done that, I'll figure out a major. Because, like, college is the thing you do after high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went and applied for financial aid and did not get approved for it. And I was like, I'm not taking out loans, whatever. I'll just start working.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and applied at Walmart, and I got that job. And I was super nervous about it at first because, like, nobody had ever given me any responsibility before.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know. Throw your kids in a lake. Like, let them do stuff and, like, fail before they're an adult so that they are ready to go into the world, man.
I agree.
But my parents were very careful with me, but, like, I don't just, like, I'm not mad at them for it. They had the best of intentions, but it's kind of colored my perception of, like, how I'm going to deal with my kids, and I think it's going to be a bit different. But so I started working because I couldn't get into school. And that was cool. I was a cashier for a long time, and I was super nervous about, like, dealing with money and, like, having to talk to people all day. And eventually I started to get over that a little bit, and they started giving me a little bit more responsibility. I think I was hired on as a cashier, but I worked a lot of stockman shifts when they were short on stockman. And so that means, I was just kind of walking around with, like, a safety vest on and a radio. And most of the time I was outside, like, bringing carts back in, which was really cool. And it was nice to be outside and, like, using my arms and stuff. And I kind of got a little bit fit from doing that. Because I was super fat in high school because I would just sit there and eat and be sad. And then I started working and gaining some confidence and, like, pushing heavy lines of carts. Because when you bring in shopping carts, you don't push them one at a time. You line them all up and you push, like, a whole bunch. And I remember there was a record, like, this stockman at Walmart had. Like, how long of a train of shopping carts can you push at once? And I think the record was 80. And so I spent, like, way too long one day, like, lining up, like, 81 carts to, like, break the record. And I was like, here we go! And just, like, pushed on it for, like, 10 minutes and it didn't move. I wasn't that fit. But, so then I broke that train up and just took it inside because I was behind.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I worked stockman and cashier for a while, and then they transferred me to working in a department. And they transferred me to the sporting goods department, and I got to sell guns, and that was cool. And I felt like a little more free because you had to take care of the whole department. You had to go around, make sure the shelves were all lined up. You weren't relegated to standing behind a register for 8 hours. So that was cool, and I got to sell guns. And then it was like, I think, let's see. By this point, I had another online girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, no. Okay, I dated a real life girl between these two online girlfriends in town.
Real life girl.
Yeah.
Get the real deal,
well,
son.
That was poor phrasing. But, what?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyway, what was it? Okay, so the reason they transferred me to the sporting goods section was, like, somebody who was working there had to go out for, like, medical reasons for a while, and they needed somebody to do the work, and so they transferred me there. And when that person was ready to come back to work, they didn't just say, like, hey, so and so wants her job back. They I don't know, instead of just telling me they were moving me, they tried to trick me, like, hey, we're gonna move you to another department that you're gonna hate for like, it's just gonna be a week, don't worry. And then they moved me, and I stayed there, and they gave my job back to the other person. And I was like, that's fine, but, like, why couldn't you just tell me that?
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, they started treating me really weirdly, and so I kind of, like, lost, and I was getting fat again. I'm really up and down with my health. I was getting fat again, and they started treating me weird at work, and so I started getting depressed again. And I didn't like my job anymore. it was kind of hard anyway, just because like the work wasn't hard, but working in retail in a rural area is the customers are the worst part of anything, and will always be mean to you for no reason, and so that'll wear on your mind after a while. So I started like just not caring about my job. Like I wanted to not work there anymore, but I was a kid, right? I didn't know how to quit a job, like, and there weren't that many other options around. So I was like, fucking, I don't know. Like I think I was subconsciously like showing up late and not doing a good job so that they would fire me, and eventually they did, and that's how I ended that.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Which I definitely regret that. That was a horrible way to handle that. But like I said, I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm. That's something I never want because like when you fill out past jobs on a resume or an application, it's like reason for leaving. Yeah. And I always want the reason for leaving to be I'm pursuing a better job, like more money.
Right.
Because I feel like you could just say I'm after the bigger dollar, and they'll be like, all right, fuck it. You know what? He's honest.
Yeah. That they want people. That's what people want. They want you to be able to like move up, unless they're just a real shitty place.
Yeah. I could go directly into my job on grounds, but I want
if you've got another one, talk about we'll do it sequentially.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think my next job after grounds was no, not next job after grounds. I think the next like real working experience I would have to talk about would be volunteer work, because I used to do volunteer work with a multi-religious group called Spiritual Life, where it's just like a meditative philosophical group where everybody just gets together and talks about like their spirituality and how they approach it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they break down like religious barriers, and I was really into it there for a while because I was really into like new age spirituality, which I still am to some degree, but I just don't have time for it. But
oh no.
But I did volunteer work with the homeless in Nashville. And what they did was they took us down to this church and let us sleep in like sleeping bags, and they pulled out mattresses for us, which it was really cool because it was free. But we went to the homeless shelter. Now the homeless shelter there was really fucking cool because it was a church-run organization, and what they did is they brought in homeless people and they rehabilitated them.
That's a good thing to do in a homeless shelter, bring in homeless people.
Oh, absolutely. And they sent them to a warehouse to organize food and clothes. They put them to work in the kitchen. They put them into work for the janitorial service. So the homeless people that they brought in, they fed them, they clothed them, they kept them clean, they kept them, like, doctored up. I don't know a better term for that off the spot and in front of a microphone. But they
healthy?
Healthy, that's the word.
Okay.
They kept them healthy and basically just let them run the place like job wise, and they put us in the warehouse and we sorted clothing, and people liked it so much that they would dedicate just boxes upon boxes upon boxes of clothing and food. And then after sorting through a few hundred boxes as a group collective, we ended up going to a food place, and I just broke down boxes for a couple hours because that's all they wanted me to do. But yeah, I got quite a bit of experience working with the homeless, come to think of it, because I also
that's cool, man.
Did a gig at this place in Harlan that brings food to the I guess homeless and needy, and I went and sorted food there. I can't remember why I did it though, but I did it. God, I just now remembered that after years, the food thing in Harlan. But yeah, it was a fun experience, and I want to feel like I've done more volunteer work, because I remember there was a gig in Cincinnati, but I can't remember any of the work we did there. I think it was just a leisure trip and not a work trip. I don't know. It'll probably strike me after the podcast, but
yeah. So that was all volunteer work. You went paid for it?
Yeah, I was completely unpaid.
Doesn't count. Get out. Not a job.
It counts.
Yeah, I'm kidding, of course.
Yeah.
Well, that's neat.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done any volunteer work because I'm a selfish asshole.
I mean, it was give and take. Like they said, we'll take you to Nashville, let you see the sights, go to museums, and you do volunteer work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, I'm not like actually thinking like. I've never done volunteer work. I would like to. Like, I wouldn't mind to, but like it would have to be something I'm really passionate about, and I'm just not passionate about anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't like the mentality that like you are selfish for not like helping people who need it, because it's like your life is your own and you don't owe anybody anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you choose to help people, then that's like you're doing a good thing. But like you don't have to do a good thing. Like you're not not doing a good thing is not equivalent to doing a bad thing.
Yeah. Like, my least favorite thing in the whole wide world is whenever you're just trying to pay for your shit and they're like, hey, do you want to donate to this thing? And you're surrounded by like really judgmental people. And you don't...
Right. But it's like, well, I got bills to pay.
It's like, I make probably about $580 a month on minimum wage. And I'm already here buying something I can't afford. Do I want to...
Okay, I just want to touch on this real briefly. I don't want to get like anti-religious or whatever in here, but I don't know. I was talking to this guy at work like a couple of months ago about like he's gotten into church recently, and it's like he was talking about. Do you know what tithes are?
Not in the religious sense, no.
Okay, well, it's like at some point in the Old Testament, it's like, hey, you owe 10% of your income to the church.
Oh, tithes, yes.
Yeah. And it's and so this guy's like doing that. He's like putting 10% of his money in the offering plate or whatever. And he was like I don't know. He was how did he tell the story? His wife always puts it in. Mm-hmm. And like one night she didn't. And he was like, "Hey, why didn't you put it in there?" And she's like, "We can't afford it right now. We need all our money to pay our bills." Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Man, don't you trust God will get us that money?" And I'm like, "He already did, man. Like, just use it." Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. I just like I have a problem with that mind frame.
Brief story. I can't remember the exact details, and I won't drop names, so the story may suck. But there was a fella I work with on grounds. Well, he used to work with on grounds. He switched to housekeeping. Uh-huh. He was getting back into church, and he was like, "Man, I can't go to church because I have a pressing adult responsibility that involves my children." And he was worried about what God would say about that sort of thing, or what he thought. And it's like,
about his attendance record?
Yeah. And he's like, man,
oh my God.
He was worried about his spirituality, about his getting into heaven. And I was like, man, I refuse to believe that a caring and loving God would send you to hell for taking care of your children.
Right, for real. Like, okay, I want to touch on this briefly. I don't know why we're talking about jobs today, but I don't know. But I want to touch on like my spirituality briefly. May come as a surprise to people that I am like in some form religious. And I do believe in God, and I'm like you don't have to go to church. Is like my thing. Like God is everywhere, and like just live your life, and there He is. You know, it's good to like communicate with people about your religion, and that's what church is for. But you don't have to go to like a government approved building to like experience like your spirituality. I think that's pretty bogus, actually.
Yeah, that's fair. I think culturally, especially in the area we live in, Christianity has become a I'm not going to talk about this on a podcast. I'm just going to say that church culture in southeastern Kentucky is extremely toxic and it's used as a form of elitism. Jobs. I believe it's your turn.
Jobs. Okay, so my second job was okay. So after I got fired,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, after I got fired. Okay, backpedaling a little bit. A month, almost a month before I got fired, I had this, like this surge of like inspiration, right? You know, because I was sad again, and I was like, I don't want to be fat and sad again. And I had this online girl I was dating again, and I was like, oh, I'm never gonna fucking meet her. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, you know, because I had finally bought a car. You know, I had saved up enough money to buy a car, and I had like a couple of thousands of dollars worth in savings because I was doing nothing but working. And so I was like, I am gonna go see her.
Yeah.
And I put in like a to get like a few days off. I think it might have been a week off. You know, because at Walmart you could put in for as much unpaid time off as you wanted, and as long as they had, you know, the manpower that day, which they always did, you would, you know, get it. And so I put in for that time off, and I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give myself 1 month to get ready for this big, huge road trip and get a hotel. I booked my hotel like that day, and I was like, it's going down. And I had like, at this point, the furthest I had ever driven was to visit you in Barberville.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that big Middlesboro and Barberville trip is the furthest you had ever driven?
That was my biggest road trip I had ever been at the time.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna do it, and so I put in for that time off, and I ended up getting fired like before it came around, and just like I fucking remember like leaving work. I came in. I remember I put my jacket up on the peg, and I started getting ready for work, and one of the managers came down and was like, Trent, we need to talk to you. And they took me to the office, and they were like, you're fucking fired. Give us your badge. And I was like, cool. You know, it was very amicable because, like, again, subconsciously I was planning for it. And like I understood why, and that they just didn't like me, and I didn't much care for them. But like it was a very civil. Like I just handed over my badge, and like they were like, nice working with you, and we shook hands, and then I left. And it was a bright day out, and I felt great. I went and got some Taco Bell, and I just vibed out to some music in the car, and then I went home. And my dad is an old school guy, I remember, so so like, no offense to him, like what I did was wrong, but like he was like, hey, why are you home like an hour after you left? And I was like, I got fired today. And he, like, the concept of getting fired to him, like, does not exist. Like, you are the scum of the earth if you suck enough to get fired. And so that was hard for him to deal with, and so that was a little bit bad. But, like, I kept my head up, and then I went on that big road trip, and I'm engaged to that girl now, and we live together. So that was cool. And then, but then I came back, and I was like, my savings are rapidly depleting. I need a job. And so I started working as a waiter at a Chinese restaurant in town. You know the ones, Ed.
Yeah, I want to do a quick shout out to that place. The
okay.
What is it? The local Panda Garden.
Yeah, Panda Garden.
So the Panda Garden in Harlan County has always been wonderful for hiring people that support any sort of alternative lifestyle, who dress different, who look different.
Yeah.
Like just the piercings, the tattoos, the funny hair. They've always hired those kids. Because in a redneck society, nobody will hire those kids. But shout out to them for giving a damn.
Yeah. And the owner, you know, I guess, you know, as an immigrant, she understands what it's like to be an other.
Yeah.
So
shout out to her.
So that's cool. And she was really cool. So I was like, I was kind of like a friend of the family, I guess. You know, her son, I was buddies with him. So that was, and my cousin was also working there, and I was like, hey man, could you talk to the owner and like see if I can come in and work there for a little while? And I did, and I had fun. I worked with a couple of my buddies, and sorry, what?
SK. First name starts with SK.
Does anybody's name start with SK?
His lanky kid, black hair, did karate. Your cousin?
No, other cousin.
Okay, I didn't know that cousin.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I think that cousin worked there a couple years before that, though.
Yeah, that's what I remember, because I used to talk to him when I went in there.
Yeah. But no, so I got that job and I worked with some of my friends and it was cool and it was a real, I became friends with the owner kind of, and she was very cool, and
Your ginger
it was a
cousin.
nice experience, huh?
Your ginger cousin is who worked there. Now I remember.
Yeah, dude, whatever. It's just weird if you don't name drop now. We've given so many identifiers.
I'm trying hard not to.
Whatever, man. But that was cool, and we were all friends there, and it was neat. And then, but I remember one of my other friends was kind of like the bitch, like the owner. Like, I don't know, just needed somebody. Like knowing her outside of work and knowing her in work, she was just like weirdly strict while there, and she needed somebody to blame everything on and yell at. And that guy quit because he got sick of it, and then I was the bitch, like, and so I got sick of that, and I found another job.
Christ.
Yeah, but
wow.
But we're still friends.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah. But that's but this time, even though I quit on the spot right before my shift, I did line up another job and quit on my own terms first. So that was a little bit of a step up from what I did before.
Yeah.
And that's the end of my story about that, and my next story will be the most interesting one, I think, but it's your turn again.
Okay, so I applied to work for Union's grounds crew, which means I walked up, and what I didn't realize is this man, whose first name is Steve, and there's so many Steves, I don't feel guilty saying Steve. I didn't realize that he was the head honcho at Union as far as finances are concerned. So here I am going up talking to this guy who's just like, one of the hard suit and tie guys. I walked in and I was like, man, how do I dress to get a job like this? So I dressed in my camo pants, a black shirt, had my hair pulled back. I was like, I'm gonna dress like a fucking redneck. I'm gonna go in and ask for a job on grounds, and it fucking worked. And well, it worked.
Yeah, if you had went in your usual what do you wear usually, like sweatpants and a video game shirt?
Yeah. Which is what I work in on grounds, because like I just want, because with that job it's going to get destroyed. So
yeah,
I ended up waiting around for somebody to quit, and then a couple months later I got the job at the beginning, because it was at the ending of the next semester, and I got it at the beginning of the next semester. So they didn't like me when I got there. Like, they took one look at me and said, this guy's not going to last.
Okay.
They whispered about me, gossiped about me, and I fucking tanked that shit. Because what they don't realize about me is, although I look like a raving lunatic, I have worked construction. I have worked under somebody, the hardest, meanest motherfucker I've ever met. This son of a bitch would grind my gears all day long, make me do shit I'd never want to do again. And you know what? I love my dad, but damn, he's hard to work for.
I feel you, man.
He is. My dad's a good man, but he is hard as hell to work for.
Yeah.
And I've yet to have a boss that hard.
Those old mountain men, dude. They're just hardcore motherfuckers.
They are hardcore motherfuckers. So I get in, and I started playing a game with my new supervisor, because like he was starting to act all big and bad with me, and he goes, man, and a friend of mine, Josh, who worked there, he's like, Josh here fucking reports to me on everything. Fucking he will rat you out in a heartbeat. Fucking you can't get away with shit. And I just...
The Josh you hang out with all the time?
Yeah. So he goes... So I go, yeah, I've never known Josh not to kiss somebody's ass when he's working. To my new supervisor.
Yeah.
He just stops dead because he was walking away, turns around and goes, all right. And from that moment on, he just started like joking with me. Because I wasn't...
Okay, cool. Because you stood up to him.
That's
yeah. Cool.
Like day one I stood up to him. But they still gossiped about me. But now like we're really good friends. Lord, I have seen so... You
just didn't look like a normal dude, so I guess, I don't know, people are very judgmental about first impressions.
Mm-hmm. I'm really how bad I am at telling these stories, but I don't put a lot of thought into my work, because to me I'm just a machine, because when I go to work...
I mean, all our jobs are just like monotonous, get a paycheck kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
yeah.
what I do on grounds isn't necessarily monotonous. So like
Mm-hmm.
what happens is there's this work order system. So if somebody needs something, they put in a work order and we do it. And that usually means, hey, we don't like the way things are set up. We're going to rearrange them. So could you take this giant ass cabinet down to the basement, go to an asbestos filled dungeon, get a different cabinet, bring it back up here to us, and here in a couple weeks, if we like it or not, we can I don't know, we'll see. So shit like that. We do all the setups in all the rooms. We make sure all the cabinets are set up, the beds are set up. We break down the beds. We do all the heavy lifting. We do the grounds work, which is seasonal, of course, and anybody listening to this can guess what all that entails. But the work is so bad, and the pay is so low. Like, full-time workers only get $8.72 an hour for that bullshit.
Oh, jeez, man.
And
I know you're working pretty physical labor too, so that sucks.
Yeah, fucking A, it sucks. Like, getting up at 5 a.m. to salt the sidewalks and shovel snow for $8.72 an hour. I mean, come on.
Jeez, I was making like a $10.50 at Walmart.
Right. So like, and a lot, as you can imagine, a lot of people have cycled through. I have met some of the best people and some of the worst people, which I'll start telling some anonymous stories here soon. But I really want to hear that pizza story.
All right.
So let's jump to it.
So I'll just start with the job itself, since that's the thing. So I get the job, and it was as a delivery driver, because I had, while I had started seeing this online girl who you all know now, Bailey, my fiance, and she lived far away, and so I started taking a lot of road trips to see her. They were very long road trips, and so I got very used to driving. I really liked driving. And I wanted to leave my old job, so I saw a listing for a delivery driver. I was like, get paid to drive? I'm in. And so I started doing that, and that was fun. I got lost my first few times and felt really bad about it. But then I got determined, and I was like, I'm going to figure out this whole... Because I lived in Harlan my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know all the back roads. And so, so being a delivery driver in a rural area like Harlan is very different from being a delivery driver in a gridded city. A lot of delivery places are like, we'll deliver here to this city where we know where all the streets are and everything's on GPS. And it wasn't like that, because we delivered to like half the county, and everybody lived in some trailer in a hole in the earth. And so we always had to call to get directions, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so, which is not the case with a lot of delivery places. You just put in your address and then they can find you, but in an area like this. But back home, not the case. It was very hard to like navigate around if you didn't know where you were going. So we had to call to get directions. And disclosure, our town was very known for a massive drug problem. The whole county was, and
we're gonna burn down that trailer, get that insurance money. We're gonna start new and make some meth. That's what we're gonna do, Irene. That's what we're gonna do.
You're pretty spot on with where this story's going, Zed.
Awesome.
So it's not like violent drug crime or anything. It's just a bunch of like sad hicks just doing meth on their own time. It's very friendly. There's no gang warfare. Everybody's just doing meth and minding their own business. So
it really is a very polite drug culture, You don't.
It's so weird. It's such rampant drug culture, and it's like, oh, Harlan, we're like on some like top whatever list for like worst drug places in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like there's no crime.
No, dude, fucking.
It's besides the drugs itself. There's no violent crime. Like people are just doing meth and hanging out.
Yeah, it's
but
it's ridiculous.
Sorry, what? Yeah, it's crazy how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Like so it was not uncommon for me to get a call from somebody who is tweaked the hell out and was like, oh man, I want a pizza right now. And I could always tell over the phone that they were high on something. And so this woman calls me, and they put in like an online order first, right?
Yeah.
And so like I recognized the street name at the very least, and it was in, where Linaroo is at.
No, not at all.
It's if you go down the old road to Kaywood past the Chevrolet Church, it's the first turn at that railroad crossing.
I'd have to see it.
But okay, all right. I can draw a map of Harlan County from memory now after working pizza delivery. But and I have done so just to prove that I could. But so I recognize the street name, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call and ask them what house they are and all that. So I call, and this woman picks up the phone, and she's very confused, and obviously high, just like way high. And so I'm I fight for like forever to get some information out of this woman, right?
Yeah.
And so I say, all right, I know where the street is. I'll just drive down until I see your house. Is there anything outside I'll be able to recognize your house by, ma'am? And she says these words exactly to me. She says, "Is brown with pumpkin."
Is brown
Not
with
it's brown. Is brown with pumpkin. So I was like, okay, I'll be there in 15 minutes. And I hang up the phone, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm looking for a brown house with a pumpkin outside. Because I think it was October. It was November, October. Not November. September or October. Like Halloween was semi-soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I guess there's a pumpkin outside. And I'm looking for a brown house with a pumpkin. And I drive down the street, right? I get to the street, and I start driving down looking for a brown house with a pumpkin outside or something. And I'm, and they're outside, and they wave me down, right? Like it's this family. I don't think there were any kids there, but I can't remember. But this guy waves me down. And the house they're outside, they're all sitting on the porch. The house that they were sitting outside of was not brown. It was white. Nothing was brown. There were no pumpkins to be seen. And the house was on fire.
What?
Yeah. They were all sitting outside. There was smoke billowing out of the front door. And, okay. Harlan County is very well known for drug problems and insurance fraud. So these people were obviously high. They were sitting outside. They were like, "Let's burn it." I don't know if they burned it down on purpose or if their meth lab exploded. But they were like, I think they were probably celebrating with some pizza because they were about to get a big fat insurance check. So, we didn't talk about it. I get out of the car. This guy comes up to me and, signs for the pizza or whatever. And we just, have, a regular conversation. And I leave, and they go sit on the porch and just eat their pizza while their house burns down.
Wow. Did you call anybody?
No, it was one of those days. I just went back to the store and kept working.
One of those days.
It was one of those days where you see it. It didn't even really hit me what had happened until 3 deliveries later, and I was like, I delivered to a burning house today.
Oh my god. Oh, that's magical.
I think so too, yeah. So, if nothing else interesting happened in that podcast, you all have that story. Yeah. I can't believe I haven't told you that one before.
That is definitely highlight worthy. So, yeah. I've dealt with so much bullshit on grounds, but for some reason, at 7 p.m. on a Sunday night, the only thing I can really remember to talk about is Chuck Nasty.
Chuck Nasty, yeah. Promising name.
Chuck Nasty was a fucking legend in my eyes.
Let's hear the legend of Chuck Nasty.
He was... I'm not going to tell his full name, but Chuck Nasty was a foster kid who got kicked out of his parents' house for fucking a cow, allegedly. So
not uncommon, I believe it.
Allegedly, he was caught fucking a cow, and his parents are like, "Well, this is a shit kid, now isn't it? Off to foster care with you."
Okay.
So he wound up in fucking Barberville.
All right.
And he was so much fun because he would always do the weirdest shit. Like he was always so paranoid about gas. Like
gasoline?
Yes, gasoline, because we run a lot of equipment like mowers, weed eaters, and gators and shit. Like he'd always be like, wait a minute, stop everybody. Is there some gas? Then he would like take the screw off, look down, and he just stared at it. And it felt like the inner gears of the philosophical mind were, you know, that look in somebody's eye when they're thinking really deeply?
Yeah.
He would have that look, and he would look up to the sun and just nod.
He was afraid it was going to turn back into dinosaurs.
Oh, the man was a fucking legend. So he would put it on and nod and be like, all right, we're good to go. After doing that, fucking, I got him into vaping. Fucking...
Vaping? What are you, some kind of...
Yeah, I got him into vaping.
Loser?
I got him into cigars.
Hell yeah.
I was a bad influence on this guy.
You were a bad influence on the cow fucker. Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny because any other day I would tell you some fucked up story of some bullshit we've had to go through, but tonight all I could think about is the legend of Chuck Nasty.
That's all I care about, man. That's all I wanted today was the legend of Chuck Nasty. Lay it on me.
Yeah, that's it. That's just the legend.
Oh, that's it? Just his backstory? Okay.
And the guest.
I thought you were going to tell me a cool story of some weird shit he did one day.
Well,
was like...
He was naturally weird. Like, he'd follow us around. Like, off work. I remember he followed the supervisor to his home. Just driving behind him slowly and shit. And like...
What the hell, man?
Yep. Old Chuck Nasty. He got his name because he was, like, weird and pervy and a virgin.
Okay.
So we just started calling him Chuck
No,
Nasty.
he wasn't, you know? Don't you... The cow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, he has a girlfriend now.
He lost his bovine virginity, at least.
Yeah, I think he's not a virgin anymore because he's got this girlfriend. And he was bragging about it just to a buddy of mine on Snapchat recently. So, yeah, I miss you, Chuck. If you're listening, come back to work for Grounds, even though you got fired. Yeah.
What did he get fired for? Is that an interesting story, or is it just sad?
No call, no show.
Oh.
He's actually blackballed, so. Which, if you're listening, I'm sorry to break it to you this way.
Huh.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Chuck Nasty. You will not be forgotten.
No, he's a fucking legend.
I guess I'll talk about the place I'm working at now.
Mm-hmm.
So, excuse me. So, right now I'm working, like, this is the best job I've ever had, I think. And, you know, so all those places I worked at before were back in our hometown, which, you've heard us talk shit on many, many times. It is near and dear to my heart, but, completely poverty place. Like, there's nothing there. There's no jobs. Those were the jobs I was working because those were the best jobs you could find in Harlan County. And you know, I was getting pretty serious with my girlfriend at the time, and I was spending a lot of money to go visit her at the end of the world.
Do you care if I dox the state?
Dox the state?
Or I guess
no, Zed. I don't care if you dox the state.
So, just for context, because I can't remember if we talked about it or not, he was driving from southeastern Kentucky to fucking Pennsylvania.
Eastern Pennsylvania was a 13-hour drive.
Yes. I feel like that's important to the story.
Yeah, very important. So, we tried to make a point to see each other. Like, I would go up there, or she came down here once, and we met in the middle once, and I visited her a few times. And we tried to make a point to see each other, like, once a month, which was insane. But
that's a ludicrous amount of cash.
Yeah, we managed to do it for like a summer, and then I had $0, and I was like, okay,
yeah, that is.
I've got to get out of town and start making some money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, and you know, I came up here. I took some road trips up to Lexington and was like doing some interviews and stuff in the Lexington area. And I had a pretty promising job, like at the Lexington post office, that was going to pay pretty well. Not as well as this, but I was going to be working like 80 hours a week, so.
Jeez, 80?
60 to 80, I can't remember. But it was like post office, like a massive, like, big city post office during the holidays.
How the...
So they were like, you're going to be working like at least 60 hours.
So is that like...
At night. And I was like, cool. But I didn't get that job because I didn't show up. I showed up like 45 minutes early to like the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they just want people, you know, they don't care.
Yeah. So
people who knew that, and I didn't, knew that they hired based on the sign-in sheet.
Uh-huh.
And they just started at the top of the sign-in sheet and went until they had the numbers to fill out. So people who knew that they like hired that way showed up like hours early to be at the top of the sign-in sheet.
Jesus.
Yeah, and so I was like halfway down the sign-in sheet, so I didn't get the job.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good to keep in mind, actually, for me.
Yeah. If you want to work for the post office, which was like a long thing. You have to take a test to work for the post office. There's like an exam that you have to like pass, and you have to go to like some kind of like weird place to like do this like big like exam to like get in, and then they just hire you based on the sign-in sheet.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. But then a buddy of mine was same man that I had at Panda Garden started working up here at a massively large auto manufacturer, which I guess it doesn't really matter, but I guess I just won't say the name of it. So yeah, I got that job, and that was a pretty long thing too. You had to take an online test for that, and then you had to do an interview, and then you had to like go do a series of physical, like 8 hours of like physical labor tests, and that was like the hardest part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't done anything as physically laborious as like they fucking killed us at that work simulation day. But that was cool, and I eventually got the job, and I was like, all right, cool. And so I started staying with that guy for a couple of months while I saved up money to get my own place up here, and I did, and that was my first time living out of my parents' house. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I live here, and I'm still working there, and my girl lives with me, and we're engaged, and everything's cool.
So,
I guess I'll talk a little bit about just the job at first, because I want to say something about like the concept of working in itself. Hard work is important, kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I worked with this. Technically, I'm still a temporary. I was hired on through like this secondary like hiring place. This auto manufacturer doesn't just hire people off the street anymore. You have to like work through this temp agency, and it's all random. I'm doing the same job that the same amount of hours and same exact work as like the people who actually work for the company, and it's like you just have to like wait. It's like a social status thing. It's super weird. But technically, I'm a temporary. There's not any danger of like getting laid off or anything. But technically, I'm a temporary, and so they put me in this. They put me on night shift, and they put me in this quality group, right?
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. And I worked in quality for. I just got transferred out of there like not even a month ago. But the reason they transferred me out is because I worked with this fucking asshole, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen somebody who doesn't do their job and then brags constantly? Like, is the worst worker you've ever seen, and then just fucking brags.
Yeah, I used to work in a kitchen.
Yeah. Okay, so this guy, he was from Eastern Kentucky. He was from Martin County.
Hate him already.
Yeah. And so he was one of those guys who like cuts grass on the weekends, right?
Yeah.
And so he was owns like a lawn care thing. He's like, man, he was just constantly complaining about being put in a quality group because he wanted to do real work, you know. And he's like, man, I make more fucking money cutting grass back in Martin County when I go home on the weekends. I'm like, then go cut grass in Martin County and get out of my fucking face. But like he just because he was like such a weirdo about like oh I want them to put me on the assembly line so I can do real work. Like he just wouldn't check quality because we were in a quality group. Like he just didn't. He's like he told everybody who asked him, I don't care about my fucking job. I don't like this work, and he just wouldn't do it. And I believe it's because of him that I got kicked out of my quality group. Eventually, like they started, they were like, we're going to transfer out all the temporaries that are in this quality group. And I think what happened is he gave us like such a bad like a report because he would just like let things go. That like the people upstairs like saw the numbers and thought, wow, why is this quality so bad? I guess it's because they've got temporaries in quality. And so they transferred us all out, and this guy screwed me out of my nice temporary quality job, and I ended up getting put on the line. Which I don't dislike the work, but just the fact that I got kicked out of my group because this guy didn't do his job, and so they just assumed it was because that's not the official statement, of course, but of course that's why, But I just. Like he would like I think there was one incident where like we have to check a lot of things on every car, right? Like and they were having like a recall at the time based on like some fuel line issues, and it's like if a bad car got out of the factory on some of the things we were checking, people could die.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and so and there was an incident where this guy just like at the end of the night didn't check the last two cars and just left. And that was like a big thing, and I think was like the kicker. They were finally like, okay, we got to kick all these dumbass temporaries out of the group. Again, like we're the same as like the full-time workers, and like you just becoming like a part of the company is just a matter of waiting around for an opening. It's not based on like your performance, or I mean it kind of is, but like it's mostly a waiting game, and you just have to wait for an opening to come. But like people like at this job, it's like such a social thing. Like if you're a temporary, you're a dumbass kid.
Yeah, for some reason.
But even though we're not temporary, we're fucking. I work 40 hours a week. But so I just want to say to anybody, if you working is an agreement, okay? What do you say? Stop distracting me with your messages right now, Zach. We'll talk about that later. Oh yeah. So okay. So this guy just like refused to do his job, but let's think about that. He was taking home a paycheck, right?
Yeah, like that.
So if working a job is like people think it's like, oh, you get in and I'm making money to be here. No, you're getting paid to do things, and if you don't like what your work is, leave.
Yeah.
If you take money for work that you are not doing, you are a thief. You are unequivocally a thief, and go to hell.
Yeah, we have a big problem with that at Grounds, like with student help. So what happens is these students come in, and most of them are just like really rich kids who have no idea what it means to get on all fours in the dirt and pull weeds in the rain. So, which fuck that chore, by the way. And they just go in and they bullshit, and it makes me look bad,
Yeah.
And
like you're screwing everybody else, and you're stealing.
Like they don't want to be there, and by sending me with them, they are damaging the way I look. Which the way I see it is, if you put forth 100% at your job currently, that reflects on what that supervisor is going to say whenever the next job calls them up and asks about you.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's all about making that impression as hard as possible. It's just a good, concrete impression that says I am a great fucking worker. So when I put them down as a reference and they get a call, they can say, yeah, he's a great fucking worker. He always shows up and does X, Y, Z.
Okay, side note on that real quick. I forgot to mention, okay, so first job I got fired, second job I quit that day. When I left Papa John's, I finally put in a 2 weeks notice. So the karmic system, I worked my way up to actually doing the right thing.
I've never been fired. I've always just chose a different job based on availability and convenience.
Yeah, I've only been fired the once, but and like I said, I did it on purpose, and but I deeply regret it though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, karma.
I have another job to talk about. I haven't talked about it yet. I work in.
I thought because you're still working at Grounds, right? Did you?
I have 2 jobs now. So I work.
Oh, right.
I am currently an intern at a tourism agency, and that's the last thing I need to do to graduate. And although I don't know if it's been approved or not, they said they're going to start giving me monthly stipends of money, which I'm really excited for. So basically,
money is my favorite thing to get at my job.
So I just have to work 180 hours, do a lot of writing, and I might get paid for it. Now, what's really cool about the tourism industry is you get to do research on how to bring people into the town. Like I'm currently doing a project where we're putting plaques on historic buildings, which is going to say what the building used to be, the date that it was there, and it's going to reflect on, my work. And whenever people take tours of this town, I'm going to be a part of making that possible.
That's awesome, dude.
It is, and I've hung out with the mayor of Barberville. He knows me on a first name basis, which is really cool. He actually gave me a ride home once, which I was like, oh, this guy ain't so bad, and he ended up just politicking to me, trying to get my vote.
Yeah.
But he supports tourism, so I guess he ain't all too bad.
Right.
He's real geeky.
A geeky mayor.
Yeah, I really love working at tourism. The only downside is I had to sit through a demo of a 7th grade weed speech. Like, you know those people that go to middle schools and talk about how bad marijuana is?
Yeah.
I had to sit through a demo of one of those.
Public service announcement, marijuana's fine. Smoke weed every day.
Fucking... There's research that currently says marijuana helps treat fucking people with chronic seizures. Fact check me, please, because for the love of God, don't believe anything anybody says on the internet. Always fact check everything.
Yeah.
But,
and so fact check me on saying I'm pretty sure it also is a great help in curing cancer.
Mm-hmm. So, like, who am I to say that you shouldn't do something to help with seizures? You know?
Yeah, for real. It's just like a fucking, because like the criminalization of marijuana was like a big political thing back in the day, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Mm-hmm. I'll leave you with this statement: fucking blaze it.
So tourism. So yeah,
tourism. So this is the first job you're working in that really is like a product of your schoolwork.
Mm-hmm.
So how's that? Does that feel good?
It does feel really good because I'm working with people on the upper level of Barberville. Like I've worked with people from the Barberville's Historic Society. I've done brainstorming conferences with the mayor. I've sat on, a lot of it was observation, but I've sat on the Cumberland Gap Tourism Association board. I've sat on the I Believe in Santa Claus Christmas board. It's a really cool thing. It has to do with the annual Christmas parade. And I sat...
Is Barberville... Oh, is that the place? I drive through every year when I go visit my family, and they've got like lights set up along the road that are like the 12 days of Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I always thought that was the coolest thing, and I loved it to drive by, so...
Yeah.
Kudos.
So, although I don't really do anything on those boards, I observe and write. I'm basically... I feel kind of like the press, but it's supposed to be like a learning experience for me when watching all of it.
Yeah.
I will tell one quick story. So I had to go, since my college recently bought an aquatic center, which is like a gym and an Olympian-sized pool and all that, and they brought in a guy from, there's just this guy who's really good at selling shit, and I was sitting there with like the president of the school, Steve I mentioned earlier, a bunch of higher-ups, the president of the local ARH chain, which is the local hospital chain.
Every time you say the president, I'm waiting for you to follow that up with of the United States.
No, the president of the college. And like I'm sitting here with all these people in really fancy shirts and really fancy suits, and I'm sitting there in a pair of elastic-waisted khaki pants and, you know, my fish shirt, my aquatic fish shirt?
I don't think I've seen that, no.
I'm wearing it when we go to Kings Island, which So I was sitting there in my fish shirt, and food poisoning kicked in. So like I get up 3 times to go to the bathroom, and it really offended this guy. He's like, "God, this interns are supposed to do anything. Why is this guy leaving so much?" And I didn't have the heart to tell him that I had the chronic shits.
Dude, I don't care to tell you, man. Whatever. Everybody shits. If you got to shit, fucking shit.
But I think after 3 hours
shit,
of...
Okay, PSA. Shit all the time and smoke weed.
But I think finally after 3 hours of listening to this guy argue with... or not argue, but debate with unions higher ups on how to run the center.
Very important distinction.
And, yeah. I finally... My final words... My final thought was... There's too many fucking suits in here for me to throw up everywhere. So I left. And I went and threw up.
That's fair.
And I think what that was my body's like defense system.
Were you nervous?
No. I was just disgusted by all this talk of business. But it was food poisoning for some leftover Pizza Hut because I'm stupid.
Okay.
And I'm always like, you know what? I'll take the gamble on not heating up chicken. Nope.
Dude, man, I've been trying to eat healthy. I destroyed myself this weekend because it was Bailey's birthday.
How did that go? Was it good?
It was good. I got her a cat. We've got a new baby cat.
Oh yeah, you showed me that. She's beautiful.
She is a peach, and my old cat doesn't like her yet, so I'm trying to get them to be friends.
Mm-hmm.
But that's beside the point. But I was gonna say about being fat. I do this cheesy thing where instead of buying her a birthday cake, I buy her a dozen donuts and put birthday candles in them. And so I ate quite a few donuts this weekend. And I got up this morning and I was like, you know what? I got out of bed. She was at work. And I was like, I feel... And we went out to dinner last night too. We got Japanese, so that was cool. So I got up this morning and I was like, oh, fuck. After the donuts and Japanese food yesterday, I'm gonna fry myself up a couple eggs and go to the gym and take a shower. And here I sit unshowered. I did not go to the gym. I went into the kitchen to fry some eggs and I saw the donuts. And I had a donut and I sat down and played some video games. And that's all I did before recording today.
I've been thinking a lot about my health and fitness, and I came to the realization that my life, working 2 part-time jobs that equal up to a full-time job, homework, the stress of this and that, I realized that a lot of radical fitness programs are just out of the question for me. So what I've started doing is...
Well, you can do radical fitness and work, but that's like all.
Yeah.
And we're both creatives and we want to sink like most of our time into that. So it's like, do you quit working or quit working out? Like what's important?
So
time management sucks.
It does. And I think the answer for me right now as step 1 lies in my lifestyle in general. So I've made it a point not to eat out anymore. I don't want to eat fast food.
That's very good. Yeah. Fast food is, I'll tell you, dude, salt. Cut salt pretty much. You need a little bit of salt, but for the most part, cut salt out of your life. It is the bane of everything. Salt and sugar.
Yeah, sugar's huge. But what I've started doing is I've just started cooking, which I've always enjoyed it because I love good food. And if I'm going to eat good food, I'm going to eat real home-cooked food, and I want to get good at it because it's just a phenomenal skill to,
Yeah, I started mostly kind of doing a meal prepping thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at the beginning of the week, Bailey will either cook up a whole bunch of chicken or a whole bunch of fish.
Yeah.
And a big bowl of rice. And so every day to try as a fitness thing, for most of my meals, I'll just eat a bowl of fish or chicken on top of white rice.
Mm-hmm.
And I've lost 30 pounds doing that.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That sounds...
I started this summer at 235. I'm down to 205.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. You can't see it that much, but because I'm dense. I don't balloon out when I get fat. I mostly just condense it. But I'm a lot lighter now.
See,
and I feel better.
That's something.
I don't feel better today because of all the donuts and I haven't showered still. But on the whole, I feel a lot better.
That's something that, sweets. I don't.
You need a little bit of sugar sometimes for energy.
I love honey.
But yeah, but very rarely. Like you can get all the sugar you need in fruits. Like natural sugars are what you need to do. So eat fruits and stay away from the sweets because it just turns directly into fat. Like sugar's not good for you.
Yeah, I know it's not.
And Zed, we should start hitting the gym together when you live closer.
That sounds amazing. We should just do that.
We hopefully will live closer than we thought because like my place here is expensive, and I'm making good money at my current job, but I want to see a little bit more of it. You know, I want to see more of my paycheck and be able to use it and not waste it all on this apartment. So I'm looking for new places to live, and we're thinking a little bit about that place that you are moving to. So we could, I'm not promising it, but we might end up in the same town even.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
So, but like to me right now, I don't like a lot of processed junk food. Like I really like baking. So if I eat something sweet, it's usually some like homemade brownies or something, which is fucking awful for me, but at least I know what's going into it. Because I crafted this, you know. It's like, but you know, it's whatever. It's I think it's all about mentality to me. I think the biggest problem for me as far as weight is marriage. And I'm gonna talk very real about the human psyche for a moment. Whenever you're single, you want to be skinny, fit, and attractive, and whenever you're married, you want to be healthy.
Oh man!
So that those abs end up just turning to like a bit of chunk.
Yeah.
Because you give better.
Yeah, because you're like, I don't need to impress anybody anymore. She's here already.
Yeah. It's like I'm healthy.
That happened extremely to somebody we knew in high school. His initials were BP.
BP. No, he's still very skinny.
You didn't know him when he was big, dude.
Oh, I knew him when he was big, but he is a tiny boy now.
Yeah, he's lean, dude. Like he was in a relationship. He got super. I don't know if you knew him at his fattest.
Yeah, I did.
But okay, well, yeah, that was because he was in a toxic relationship, and once he got out of it, he like started like working out hardcore, and he's one of the like leanest dudes I know now.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed is, you know, whenever people single up, they usually just get really physically fit.
So we should abandon our wives.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
That's what I'm hearing right now.
No, that's just what I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm on board. Let's go.
That's just something I've noticed as a society, and you know, I'm guilty of it as well.
Yeah, it's called relationship weight. Of course, everybody who gets in a relationship is gonna
get comfortable. Yeah,
gain a little bit of weight. Yeah, get comfortable. Unless you're like a gym couple, which I would like to be.
Yeah.
But you know, that requires two people.
Like I'm gonna try. I'm gonna tell the story, but I want it to be as incredibly anonymous as possible.
Sure.
I knew a man who worked with his back. So he was always like super fit, but his wife didn't do anything, and she was always a bigger woman.
Okay.
And she carried it very well. Like she looked good bigger, and so I don't feel comfortable.
Is the moral of this story that you're into fat chicks or what?
No, I'm just saying like she looked healthy. You know?
Okay.
She looked healthy.
I mean, don't tell the story if you're uncomfortable with it, but...
So, but yeah, she always looked healthy. But like what happened was they got a divorce, and I watched this woman shrink down to like 120 pounds. And she looks cracked out. I think she is cracked out.
She might be.
Yeah. But that's just something that I saw happen because like after 10 years of marriage, she shrunk down, and that's what happened. Here's what it is.
Huh.
But we see it so often, you know. People get out of relationships and they get skinny. You know, I'm in a dedicated relationship right now, and
You got a little bit of a gut on you.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. I'm trying to knock a little bit of it off because I'm getting ready to get the kind of job where I need to wear like nice clothes.
Yeah.
And I want to be comfortable in nice clothes.
Yeah, I dressed kind of nice when we went out to dinner last night, and like I said, I've lost weight. I felt more comfortable in like a thin dress shirt than I ever have in my life.
Yeah, and I think that's it. You know, I think nice clothing can be a huge motivator for somebody who wants to get fit, because I wear baggy shirts because, well, I'm gonna be really honest, because I'm covered in stretch marks because of radical weight gain and weight loss over time. So I wear these really baggy shirts because I'm self-conscious about it. Mm-hmm. And I wear sweatpants because, well, when I'm not at tourism, I wear sweatpants because my job is a very physical job, and fuck it, I need something that can take a beating. And oddly enough,
blue jeans,
sweatpants are better for what I do.
That's fair.
Because it's the kind of job where things are constantly getting ripped up. I want something to always be form-fitting, so nothing's falling off my ass or too tight. It needs to be a perfect cover-up, you know, of me.
I feel you.
And so sweatpants are the answer, because I can't go and drop $20, $30 on a pair of blue jeans to have them destroyed every couple months.
Sweatpants are the answer, is Ed Dale in 2018.
If you work, like, if you do what I do, sweatpants are the answer. And I think in casual settings, they're always the answer, period. But
I mean, they're alright. I like to look like semi-nice, so I wear jeans.
Oh, I want to talk about that. So I was speaking with my mother-in-law recently, and she told me that a manager from an establishment said that he keeps an eye on everybody who walks in and out of his place. So, like, if they always dress real slobby, and the second they show up dressed nice for a job application, it doesn't matter how good that application is, they will not hire them because of how they dress.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, that's just that's just a weird reality, and I think it could be localized to where we are, but that is something to keep in mind whenever you go out dressed up.
I believe you. Okay. Shit, dude. Mm-hmm.
So I think
I think it's important to like dress okay, just like as a I respect myself kind of thing, but like we don't need to be judging people too harshly on it.
Well, something else.
There's a middle ground with all this shit that we need to like find.
I think the best way to do it is, if you're gonna go out casually, like really, like, you know what, I work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I'm going out. I'm not gonna, you know, like a really nice pair of form-fitting sweatpants and a very nice t-shirt. Yeah. And you just be clean, and like your hair looks good.
Clean is the important part.
And like your clothes aren't torn up and they fit, I think, and your shoes are clean. I think you can get away with that. But what I do, and what I used to do even more radically, people thought I was cracked out. People thought I was a junkie when I walked into stores because of the way I dressed. And
but you look clean, dude.
Yeah, I never go anywhere without a clean head of hair and a clean face. But everyone thought, like, it's to the point, like, I walked into a local Radio Shack one time and they're like, "Excuse me, can I help you?" And it's like, bitch, I'm just here to browse. And she's like, "Yeah, well, fucking do it."
Dude, I fucking dare you to look at our wares.
Yeah, and that's just the way she treated me, because that's the way I was dressed. I looked like one of the local junkies.
Man, I like wearing jeans. I like wearing a good, clean t-shirt or a button-up. But like, I'm not gonna judge you if that's not how you dress, man.
Yeah, and
I will say I don't much care for like people who go out in pajamas.
Yeah.
I'm not generally a fan of that. I think that's gay. Don't do it. Mm-hmm. Like I don't even wear pajamas like at the house. Like I'm wearing blue jeans right now. And I don't wear pajamas unless I'm in bed. And like when my feet hit the floor, I put on blue jeans.
Yeah, no, fuck that and fuck you. If I'm not going out,
you can get comfortable jeans. I'm gonna help you pick out some pants that are comfortable. Like, not all jeans. You You got to get that flex denim Levi's, dude.
No, fucking, if I'm at the house and I'm not going anywhere, I'm either laying here onto my underwear, or right now I am wearing my Avengers sleep pants and no shirt. That is my at the house. Nobody is showing up. You know?
You disgust me.
That's me right now.
Well, that's not how I want my house to be either, man. Like, I try to, like, it's a little messy right now just because I've been busy, but, like, I try to generally keep my home. I think it's a good rule of thumb that you should, like, constantly be prepared for company.
Yeah. I could see that, but right now, where I'm only going to be here till December, all my friends have left school.
Yeah.
Because I made the mistake of not doing this internship during a summer thing.
Uh-huh.
Nobody's coming to see me. I'm at peace with that.
Maybe part of it might be the mentality difference between living in a dorm and a place that's your own.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so, no, fuck that shit.
I mean, I'm not ragging on you. Like, if that's your, like, lifestyle, whatever. I'm just like, it's not mine.
Yeah, I can respect that. It's just, when I'm around the house, I don't expect anything to...
I just can't feel productive in pajamas, dude. When I'm up, I want to, like, feel okay. Mm-hmm. And, like, being dressed makes me feel like, you know, get up in the morning, dress yourself, make the bed, and you're ready for anything.
I mean, I guess. To me, though, it's like, if it's a Saturday or a lazy Sunday and I ain't doing shit, I'm not dressing for a god fucking thing, you know? It's not happening.
Dude, the difference is when I'm having a lazy Sunday, I wear my belt a little bit looser.
Ugh, you disgust me. Oh, Christ.
Oh, I got house shoes now. I wear flip-flops instead of boots. But only outside. I would never go outside wearing flip-flops either unless I'm going to, like, the beach.
I used to be really into...
Like, cover your feet, asshole.
I used to be really into flip-flops. I used to wear flip-flops in the rain.
Flip-flops in the rain. Oh. That's the name of our new song our band is doing.
Flip-flops. Oh, are we starting a band?
Sure. Dude, did I ever tell you about the fake band that me and my siblings created?
No, you've never told me about that.
Okay, so it's like we don't have any songs, but we've got about 10,000 songs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just based on the conceit. You know, people joke around and, like, you say something weird and it's like, oh, that would be a cool name for a band, or that would be a cool name for a song.
Yeah,
so
of
it's
course.
Like every time somebody says something, we think about it, and, like, if we can take it out of context, then it would sound like a stupid, like, song name or something.
Mm-hmm.
It all started, I think I graduated, and, like, when I graduated high school, we like went out to eat or whatever, and, like, I was wearing, like, nice pants, I think, and we were going, I don't know, like, Pizza Hut or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was wearing, like, nice pants, and my sister, she looks at my pants, and, like, something, we were talking about how messy the food was gonna be or something like that, and she says, "Don't get your nice pants nasty." And so we became a band called Nice Pants Nasty.
That's excessively bizarre.
Yeah, and we wrote a bunch of songs, and then we decided, no, Nice Pants Nasty broke up, and we reformed as the American Earthworms. And I don't remember where that came from. Let me see if I have any notes on, like just a few song titles. God, there's like 1,000. Okay, I just scrolled down to a random place. There's a song called, the album is Crumb 54. And the last song on that album is called Please Don't Make Me Catch That Donkey.
Wow.
Just like a bunch of, like, really cringy, like, in humor like that.
So, like, no songs, no actual music existed.
There is no actual music, and we've thought about just, like, releasing. We're gonna, like, make a Wikipedia article that just, like, is actually, like, this band exists, and release a bunch of music that is just, like, 3-second recordings of, like, somebody, like, eating chips or something.
That's amazing. I made it a...
One song, let's see, Supermarket Grim Reaper. Um,
That's an amazing name for a song.
yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to find any that would be good. Some of them are just stupid, but you laugh like laugh really hard at them in the moment.
You mentioned
okay. Here's some old ones. Beef in my teeth. That's a made up word. Straight up sideways junior.
Oh Lord.
Bourbonhampton.
That makes me
We drink all the time.
Oh wow.
No, I can't find any of the good ones. Maybe these weren't good, and I can just in this context I'm realizing it.
I got a song called "Holy Shit Unicorns."
Holy shit, unicorns!
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's going on the Senton record.
Okay, this album, The Living Pie. One song, The Filthy River. Bells Ring Faster in Alabama.
I feel like all these song titles sound like clickbait because you crave the context.
Yeah.
You just crave context. Which sounds like a great way to start a music career. Clickbait records. That looks like your generic copy-pasted YouTube thumbnail.
Okay, here's a few. On the album You're a Trash Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in the freezer so you wouldn't cry. I'm cooking, I'm bleeding. Autistic Property?
What?
Autistic Property.
Wow.
There's an album card. I have so many cards in my backpack right now. I don't...
What? I have so many...
The Quest for the Special Rope.
That sounds great.
There's a potato in the closet.
Mm-hmm.
These are all suck. These suck.
Fuck.
Sorry, I made you all sit through that. I swear
fine,
there's some really funny ones in here.
Fucking Twitter keeps fucking trying to get me to follow your brother's wife. As suggested.
Follow her.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, sorry.
I don't fucking know, but she's like always in my recommended. I don't know. I'm sitting here.
She is. It's not just like a personal account. She's trying to be like a online personality, I think. So.
I think we all are to some degree.
Yeah.
Ironically, I sit here saying this.
Yeah.
God. Song titles. I feel like as a musician, that's something I often overthink. Is my song titles, like?
Yeah.
Let me pull them up. So what I do is I write ballads. The songs usually tell a long story. So I'm gonna look for some that are never getting released, like The Strange Case of Elizabeth Fisher, The Werepig March, Sorceress.
Yeah. Dude, I can help with the titles at the very least because, as we've all seen, I'm great at writing them.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one called "She Ran from Dogs and He Fought Crabs All Night."
Hypnosis, Children of the Moon, Catwalk. Just so much trash titles. The Ballad of Matches, which I really like. That's an actual song. Go look it up on my Reverb Nation, please, for the love of God.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. But that was very serious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's real art house shit. But
ambiance.
Mm-hmm. Which this new record's not going to be so. Because like I wrote a song for it today, and it's a lot more upbeat and it sounds more Celtic. It's like it's kind of heavy, but at the same time it's kind of Celtic and kind of jazzy at the same time. It just depends.
Celtic jazz. Let's create a new genre of Celtic jazz.
It depends on the track. Some of it's jazzy, like Two Zeds Are Better Than One is a very jazzy song. And like The Battle of Epiton is a very heavy song. And I'm working with some Celtic riffs right now that I'll use for something.
Dope.
Yeah, so songwriting is a slow, sucky process because you want it to be perfect because you have a lot riding on it, especially since I've invested money into this endeavor. So whatever. I'll figure it out.
I think investing money in the album cover was like you were trying to make yourself get serious about it by like putting stakes into it.
Yeah.
So like if you don't go through with it now, you wasted your money on that. Is the idea, right?
That is the well, no, the idea was to help you out.
Oh, well, fuck you. Help me out now. I wasn't struggling then. I'm struggling now. Buy a drawing.
Oh, I'm struggling now though. Dude, why aren't you plugging your Instagram in these podcasts? Like,
man, because I don't think I want to be on Instagram anymore. Like,
really?
it's just the format is broken. Instagram keeps getting worse, and it's like it's not. I think it's not a good place to be an artist right now. Like, it's just gonna get worse, and like I'm not gonna maintain success there. I think I'm gonna try to be moving over to Twitter, and I plug my Twitter here. Just need to start drawing more things. I draw a lot of things like that are like I'm helping Bailey out with a project of hers that is like secret right now, and like it's not secret, but she doesn't want to like lay all the cards on the table. I'm doing like character sheets, and I can't post all those because some of them would be spoilers. And I'm working on my own stuff that I don't want to spoil people to, and I can't post that. So I don't know. I need to start just doing some art that like will bring people in, but it's like I'm not enough of a fan of anything to do fan art of it. You know, I want to create my own stuff, but nobody wants to see my own stuff. And
I think Twitch would be something to look into.
Yeah, remember I told you I did like stream drawing a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the idea of streaming. Like somebody could show up right now. That's why I want to do Drock. That's why I want to just like kind of do an art stream, but like pre-recorded, and I don't have to worry about somebody coming and talking to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like maybe I'll have a hard time like keeping myself talking. You know. Yeah. I would like for it all to be in real time, where I don't have to like cut or speed up any parts of the video. But that's a skill I'm gonna have to practice. If it's just gonna be me, like it's easy to continue talking here with you and me because you know we can bounce off each other, but
yeah, it's
I don't know. Talking solo is something I'm gonna have to practice a bit more, I guess.
I used to stream quite a bit, and something that I always struggled with was just talking constantly because you never knew when somebody was going to show up. I eventually got to where I could get a few people there and keep them by really engaging with them. And it's just getting the
first... Well, why can't you do that for our podcast? I know we've got like 2 people watching. Please comment. Please fucking comment on this video.
No, you don't have to if you don't want to.
You don't have to, but like...
we love you.
Yeah. We do love you. Thank you for watching.
Tell your friends. Fucking engage with us. I know I'm not one of those internet people that you can hit up and I'll never hit you back up. Right now, where my internet career is so dead in the water, you could hit me up and I'll talk to you for hours on end.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Yeah, tweet at us.
Yeah, Twitter's the only avenue I'll do that with. Or the YouTube comment section. I'll definitely talk to you in the YouTube comment section.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that's worth mentioning. I like engaging the audience because these are real people, and if they are taking interest in my personality, fuck it, they must want to get to know me or something.
Yeah, and it's easier to see that when we've got a subscriber count that's in the single digits.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we grow exponentially, then that's going to be something I can't do because I'm only human and I can't talk to everybody, but like right now that's something I'm very open to Just don't be fucking weird, Like, don't understand that there are ethical lines that you do not cross with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a case by
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to know where everybody's ethical lines lay at the onset, but
yeah,
just generally, there's a common etiquette for how you treat somebody who you haven't figured out where their line is. So just follow that.
Yes. Honestly, this is my first real attempt at YouTube. Like, I have a...
This is my second, but the first sucked and didn't... I started a Let's Play channel with a couple of guys, like, years ago.
I made it 10 minutes into the video. No, I didn't even make it 10 minutes. I made it like 3 or 4 minutes into the video and then just left.
You know what? I can't blame you.
I'm sorry.
We weren't a very great comedic team. I think you and me are much better, have better chemistry with one another for this kind of work.
Yeah.
Plus, I was younger and stupider. And there were 3 people. We tried to do a Let's Play series with 3 commentators. And at the time, I was like, oh, nobody's done that. And then we did it, and I was like, I know why nobody does this now. And it just came to the point where we had like one recording session. We recorded like 3 episodes, posted 2 of them, and like I couldn't we couldn't schedule everybody for the second recording session. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? I guess this isn't going anywhere. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, whatever. It was just a thing that happened, and rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. Like, I have a second...
Do you think people are not, like, vibing with the chalkboard thing? Should we abandon that?
I really like it as an aesthetic. I wish there was a platform to where we might be able to run a poll on it. Like, I know there's a poll.
Who's going to vote on it right now?
Fuck it. I think we might be able to ask Reddit. If, like, art on Reddit, just be like... And don't plug yourself. Be like, just don't add the title, but have like the art itself without the title. A lot
of the art is the logo.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, I think the RPG one, just cut out the logo of it.
Yeah.
Post it on there, and then there's a online voting website. Let's see if I could find it. Where you just you just create a poll.
Okay.
And I can't for the life of me remember what the hell it was.
Because this is not like I picked this art style because 1, I think it looks cool, and 2, it's pretty low effort. Mm-hmm. But this is not the artistic extent of like what my capabilities are. I could draw something like pretty cool for this if I wanted to, but just like I wanted it to be low effort and kind of minimalist. I think people really relate to minimalism, you know. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Maybe they're not. Like, straw poll. Okay, yeah. Please, I don't know. If we could get some feedback, like if you're actually listening, like don't comment if you don't want to, like if you're not comfortable with that. But
yeah.
If you do have something to say about what you think about our aesthetic or what we could do to improve it or just change it entirely, you know, any feedback is well appreciated.
I'd like to do some research on color. Like what colors people react to?
Yeah, blue.
Blue, is that the color people react to the most? Like the most is blue really the most eye-catching thing that people click on?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Especially, I know it's definitely like in thumbnails. Like people will click on blue thumbnails all day long.
Mm-hmm. Like I know my Zed Dalen channel, my aesthetic is mostly black and white.
Yeah.
Which is a metaphor on how I see life because I'm an artistic person.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a real artsy guy, but
yeah, it all has to mean something, you know. It's all got to be a reflection of the self.
Yeah. That's why I draw big anime titties.
Big anime titties.
Yeah, dude. If I just drew a bunch of big anime titties all over this podcast, we'd be rolling in it.
I don't know. It feels so cheap.
I'm like, it has to relate to the subject matter, dude. There's no anime titties here.
Yeah. The RPG one would have worked.
Yeah, I don't know. The chalkboard thing doesn't totally reflect us anyway. It seems to me with podcasts though, like dark colors, like black and dark, like monotones with bright colors on top is like what people do for podcasts, and that's what I did. But like, I don't know, maybe it's not working out.
I was watching or not really an interview, but a video that a podcaster and a YouTuber did together, and the YouTuber was getting into podcasting and was talking about it, and he said that in YouTube it's a whole different ball game. You have to hook, line, and sinker them, and you have 8 seconds to keep them in the video.
Yeah.
And for us, that's a little weird because for the first 4 seconds you have my music, and then we have that intro.
Yeah. I think the music and the aesthetic go well together. Do you think we should change both of them? I think they really like lend themselves well to one another.
They do. They do.
Like, are neither of those things connecting with people? They connect with me. I like them.
I like them too. I think the aesthetic is fine, but I'd like to do some research into what thumbnails are popular right now. And I absolutely hate to follow the trend of thumbnails, like of what's popular on YouTube thumbnails, because I'm not going to just stick my face in the blowjob position staring at our logo, because that's what's popular.
Man, clickbait is marketing, okay?
I
think we talked before about how, there's sleazy, just untrue clickbait, and then there's just marketing,
Yeah, like I'm looking at Adam right now, and I'm on YouTube right now, and one thing I've noticed that all of these thumbnails have in common is a face. There's the human face making some sort of weird face. Like
we've got that in a couple of our most recent thumbnails. I really like the role-playing games thumbnail. I know most people aren't gonna like it, but just
I like it too.
Yeah.
I think it may be...
I didn't draw it, by the way. That's just that's from Dark Dungeons.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I think the human face is something people must react to, because all these YouTube suggestions. Oh, here's a steak. But just the human face. That may be it.
I thought the episode 3's thumbnail, when we started doing different thumbnails, I thought that was going to be a real click-worthy one, but it's only got 6 views, and the one with the bear on it has 16.
Yeah, I really thought Spider-Man and the waifu was going to do something.
Yeah. I think it probably looks really cheap. Maybe I think Spider-Man's presence might like make people think of Spider-Man and Elsa.
What the actual flying fuck is Spider-Man and Elsa?
You don't know what Spider-Man and Elsa is. Oh my god. Okay, I'm sure everybody's listening like already knows. So I'll tell you all about it after, like, post recording.
Okay.
I'll send you. Okay. Do you know H3H3?
Yeah.
They did a whole arc of reaction videos to it. I'll send you links to that.
Okay, cool. I'll be happy to watch some of them.
It's as good as the Bradbury saga.
All right, cool. I think the human face may be something to look into, but I don't want my face on them,
Yeah, I mean, we'll just do art of our faces, or art. Like, maybe I liked like the fucking the concept that we've got, like little chalkboard characters of ourselves. They kind of have faces, but kind of don't. Like, my guy's got glasses, and your guy's just has a big shit-eating grin. And I think that's like on a level to where people can like understand the emotion behind this. Like, there's enough face there for people to like fucking relate to it and understand like what is conveyed here. But
yeah,
I don't know, maybe we just haven't waited long enough. Maybe changing our aesthetic would be a little bit preemptive after 6 episodes, but I don't know. I just don't know.
I think we should eventually look into getting onto the podcast app, but I'm worried that costs money. And I know iTunes is a big one.
Man, I just don't think anybody is on there, dude.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll look into it later.
I'm really gonna bank quite a bit on the highlights on the SoundCloud.
Mm-hmm. We'll put
highlights.
I'll make some visuals and put them up on YouTube as well. But before I put visuals to it, I want to make sure our visuals work.
Yeah. So I'm probably going to do some research on the marketing of YouTube and podcasts.
Yeah. Do you think jazz doesn't relate to people? We got a jazzy intro.
Yeah, I like jazz.
I do too. I mean, it's not my favorite genre of music, but it's cool. I think it puts you in the mind frame of, hey, let's have a discussion.
Yeah, I think like where it sounds kind of goofy, and I did that on purpose. Like, it's meant to fit the aesthetic. I think I don't want to say it, but remember how shocking the first one was, like the original one that we never released?
You think we would have got some shock value clicks?
I think we would have never made a penny on YouTube, but I think if we went down that avenue, we could cultivate an audience. I don't.
Like, it's not like we did anything different than what we're doing now. It's just the subject matter was fucking weird.
We would have. It would be tip jar based if we were to ever make money off of it. Completely tip jar based. And we would have a lot of angry parents, and we would have age restrictions, and
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not here for the kids, dude.
No, this is this is 18 plus, and I think.
I mean, I'm not gonna say teenagers can't listen to this, but I'm not. Yeah, rated R, ClapTrap, rated R.
Because we talk about drugs and crime, and we cuss a lot. That's it. Let's just put 18 plus after our titles.
What? No.
Why not?
Because then that's not inclusive. I don't know.
Think about it. So what we're doing.
I mean, people will click on it out of curiosity, I guess, but whatever.
Well, because I looked into it, and the way the YouTube algorithm works is you basically have 2 or 3 days to become relevant in it. And what happened, I'm going to talk about music very briefly, is there was this group of parents that got together and started attacking the music industry in the 80s, like a big Senate hearing, and they brought in Twisted Sister and Frank Zappa and a bunch of others. And what happened, and it ended up being the birth of the parental warning label. But what that parental warning label did to these records was say, holy fucking shit, this is a cool record, I'm going to buy this record. So
yeah, but you don't see that on YouTube. That's not a thing that's going on.
Well, I mean, you have to have an 18 plus account to watch certain videos, and I think what would we be doing is saying, hey, children shouldn't listen to Zed say fuck so much.
I would disagree. I think
I know.
I think language is fine for kids.
Oh, I know damn well they hear worse language on their middle school playground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. I've never said anything on this podcast that's too incredibly risque.
Right, which is why I think that would be the sleazy lying kind of clickbait if we did try to market ourselves as edgy 18 plus boys. Mm-hmm. Which I mean on on TV or whatever, yeah, they definitely wouldn't let kids listen to us. But by my own standards, we wouldn't be. If I ran all the media in the world, we'd be rated teen,
Yeah, the fuck rule, in PG-13 movies, you can only say fuck once. If it wasn't...
Which is a new thing, also. Yeah. I think you can also have a butt. Mm-hmm. On a movie, you're allowed to have, one fully nude butt shot. Mm-hmm. Now.
Yeah, because that's not...
Side note, sorry, but yeah.
Yeah, I could buy that. Yeah, in a realistic world where everybody doesn't have their stick up their ass, this is a pretty PG-13 podcast. But
yeah, absolutely, I think it is.
I think color...
By my own standards. Color, yeah, we need to work on colors and just imagery. I don't want to trick people, which, I just want to grab their attention.
Yeah, I think the answer lies in research, really. Because, the human face, it really seems like people respond well to the human face. And...
it's the most relatable thing out there.
And every one of these thumbnails that I see features either the human face or some cartoon character that or an album cover, obviously, but that doesn't really
I never
count.
go to the trending page, but I'm gonna check it out.
I'm gonna check it out too. Fuck it. It's not like people are gonna
Okay.
listen to this much.
Yeah, human faces.
Mhm.
Most thumbnails seem to have 2 people.
Yeah. And like
Colors.
the blowjob face is always on there. The mouth wide open.
Yeah.
Let's see, Muse. I don't want to count music.
Number
videos.
3 on trending. We broke up.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now, and that's kind of. I mean, gossip and drama. I'm not about gossip and drama, and I'll quit the podcast before we start something like that, because I want to be as honest as possible. You know.
I'm not about drama at all. Like,
No.
Just whatever. We're here to talk about dumb shit and
Yeah.
have a good time.
Yeah, that's what this is. I think the answer could lie in secondary content as well. Like, I'm hoping the podcast tutorial that I'm gonna do is gonna be nice for us.
Yeah.
Bring some people in, because people over time, that's the kind of video that people are gonna look up, see that I've managed to condense a tutorial down to 3 or 4 minutes, click on it, learn how to do it, and move on.
Mm-hmm.
I think would be really like a positive thing.
Yeah, I agree. I should find a new minimalist style, maybe one that's less.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting some ideas, and I'll draw up some concepts afterwards. But I've got commission work I got to do first, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you could,
hey, Joji's new song is on trending. Good job, Joji.
yeah. Is it really?
Yeah, you got to scroll down kind of far to find it, but yeah. It's got 5.8 million views. I haven't listened to the song yet, but good for Joji.
I don't really listen to his stuff. It's not my gig.
I did. I got to be in the mood for it now.
Mm-hmm. How did somebody said it in a article one time that it's generically hipster.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I liked.
It's good background music, but
Mm-hmm.
not much else.
No.
Kind of like the new Gorillaz music. We get.
I've
Do you
not
like
touched.
Gorillaz' new stuff?
I've not touched it. I've barely touched on the other stuff.
It's whatever. I liked the old Gorillaz, but the new stuff is. I guess it's basically Joji music.
I as a semi-classically trained composer, I mostly lean towards music that's pretentious, artistic, or not mixed and rendered. Like mixing, like sampling, and like taking somebody else's work and mutilating it and turning it into something else.
Yeah.
I just don't. That's not my scene, man. I see that as plagiarism that's legal. Which is probably the most controversial opinion I'll ever speak on here. I think sampling is wrong.
It's fair use.
Fair.
It's transformative.
It's plagiarism.
Yeah, we can talk about that another time.
Yeah.
I think I noticed one thing about thumbnails.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the faces, we've got the bright colors, but we don't put words. We don't put big in-your-face words in the thumbnail.
That's true. You could. Well, you did for the first 2 episodes because I'm looking at them. You could.
Yeah, but I was using the chalkboard aesthetic. So, and our first episode got like, let's see, 47 views.
Yeah.
47 people clicked on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because 47 people want to know about world building. I feel like people look at the thumbnails, and that's probably also why people do all caps titles to grab your eye. And so people are looking at the thumbnail and not like understanding from the picture. They want a big fat word in their face to like communicate the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll try that next time.
Yeah. I may change up the music. I don't like the fantasy music I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
Was the original ClapTrap sound, but I was like, that doesn't really fit. You know, I think I might use that for Zed or something else. I loved it.
Is that the one for Spellcast?
Mm-hmm. What I sent you for that?
Because it works much better for that. Because I think you wanted to do a fantasy themed podcast at first, but how would we keep that going?
Well, we're both world builders. That's something worth thinking about because we jump theme every.
Dude.
What if we just
Okay,
get a central theme?
world building. Do you want to? Okay, here's an idea. Just throwing it out there. We can think about it and talk more about it later. But what if we did a side series podcast that was just about world building, and we record ourselves just. I don't know. Maybe it won't be interesting to listen to, but like building a world.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm fine. Let's do it.
It might not be any fun. A lot of world building is just like fucking
monotony.
sitting there and thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be a good Twitch show. Because I've been advocating for a Twitch show for some time now.
It could be something to do with fan interaction, but I don't know.
And like,
we'll talk more about that later. But
yeah, I think that would be a really interesting project to start. I think that would be a lot of fun. Ooh, and you know what we could do? I want to put it in the Discord.
Okay.
But I think that's a show that could have has a lot of potential because we need to do that 2019 to 2020 channel plan, like a business plan.
Yeah, for real. We should talk about that as the launch big. Huh. That's not a bad idea. But yeah, we need to, for the rest of 2018, be thinking about like what to do, and then when 2019 starts, be ready to jump into the paint with a clear goal.
Yeah.
And a clear path of steps to take.
Yeah, because like we want to do Spellcast, and we want to do our own maybe solo projects on the show. I thought about doing
on the channel at least.
Yeah. I thought about doing a show where I rated B movies like trash cinema, but I don't know if I have to give a fuck for that.
Yeah, for real.
And that sounds like copyright infringement waiting to happen.
Yeah. How did what was that? Fucking Mystery Science Theater 3000.
It's on Netflix.
Scott introduced me to show. Yeah, it's like how did that get by? Because most of it's just the movie, and sometimes they talk about it and they cut away for a minute, but
I don't
most
know.
of it's I guess because they're B movies and like B movie creators don't have any money or knowledge, obviously. But I don't know. That is weird.
Yeah, like publishing companies will strike your ass quickly for that shit, which it's whatever, you know. It's whatever. Personally, I don't care. Christ.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm looking at my current YouTube channels right now, and I have a League of Legends video with 48 views. I'm so proud.
Proud of you, man.
Thank you. I don't know. We'll have to sit down and get a clear plan for 2019. So something I want to ask you, and I don't... At what point do we look at this project and pull the plug?
That's a good question, because it takes a long time to grow, but you know, we should be seeing some kind of snowball soon, right? Like,
yeah,
I think we should keep going. I think we should stick with it for maybe longer than a normal person would think this is still going to happen, because I think one major aspect of accessibility is having a breadth of content to consume. Somebody new comes to the channel, I could just imagine like hearing a podcast that like clicking on the channel and like, oh, they've only got 3 episodes, So I don't know. Let's look at where we are at episode 20.
Okay.
Because you click on a channel, you see 20 videos. That's like, oh wow, these guys are in it.
Yeah. I think. So yeah, I think that is worth considering. The highlight channel, the presentation of how we're going to bring people in.
Yeah.
And future content. And I think I love the world building thing, because that's I had briefly thought about it, but I was like, Because there's a lot of people like us who are constantly writing or making games or telling stories or doing something and have big dreams.
I'll tell you, world building is a thing that like a lot of people do for fun and for like professional to become writers. But there's not a lot of like I don't know, like learning material for it out there. There's not enough people talking about it.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of forums and stuff, but that's like not quite as accessible.
It'd be really weird. We'd have to do some sort of visual for it. Like one of our computers would have to be recording with OBS.
Yeah, we could do screen sharing, and I'll tell you what I could do is we could start with geography and then like pick out places of the world, or maybe we could write history in real time, like I did with I talked briefly about one world building project where I picked where life began and kind of like worked my way outwards.
Yeah.
And we could start with that. I could build some geography, and we could pick a place to start and just like visit places around that world and be like, okay, what's here? You know, what do they do, and how do they interact with the guys who we talked about last week?
Yeah.
And I don't know. That might suck, but it might be cool.
I think it has a lot of potential if we wrap it up in a bow and present it real nicely.
Yeah. I think one major thing is going to be spellcast. I think people know what D&D is and they like it, and they'll like to see it. So
I think I got to learn Pathfinder for Cedric. That's going to be weird.
Yeah. I think we should start with Dungeons and Dragons, right? It's the most accessible one, right?
Like I got in the mail recently the basic fantasy role-playing system that I showed you. I ended up buying it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, and it's 30 some pages of rules, and the rest of it is just monsters and items and stuff. I think it would be good for us to use.
I mean, simply, it would be simple, but like I'm talking about like bringing in viewers, you know, people. If we play Dungeons and Dragons, you know, more people will be like, oh, I've heard of that. I'll listen to it.
Because it's constantly growing in popularity because of the internet, and people are like, oh, this just looks fun. But D&D, like, my argument for basic fantasy role playing is it is Dungeons and Dragons that's like in the early 80s, and it's a rules light system, so there's not so many technicalities, and you can add homebrew rules to it, and you can get away with more bullshit because there's not a rule. I
agree that it would pretty much be the same and it would be fun, but just like people don't know that.
Yeah, I think that's the books themselves. Because I got the creature book and the rule book. Seems like more of the kind of thing I can bring up to your house, and we can flip through it and be like, okay, we now know how to play.
Right.
Which I think would be...
Which I bring it with you next week then.
Yeah, we'll look at it, and I think you'll really like it because it's easy. It's real easy.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying it's easy to get into, and nobody has time to learn $150 worth of rule books for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. But, you know, Cedric...
I think more people just already know the rules of Dungeons & Dragons.
I know Pathfinder's simpler. Or not simpler, but it's like... It's like 2nd edition D&D. Like, it harkens back to the old school stuff. So, once I look at it... I mean... I've always had a problem with Pathfinder because... Like, if you notice what our... future DMs like, yeah, I'm really into D&D. Really? Which edition do you play? Pathfinder. It's a completely different game. It's not Dungeons and Dragons, and it's just this weird pet peeve of mine. It gets under my damn skin. One thing I've noticed a lot of popular podcasts do, and like all of the popular ones do, is they interview people.
Not all of them, but yeah.
Like, and it's
that is a popular thing.
And like.
Who's going to come on our podcast, though, you know?
Yeah, that's the problem. It would have to be someone...
You kind of got to be well-known to do stuff like that, I guess.
It would have to be someone as small as us.
Yeah. That's not really click-worthy, though, except for that person's audience.
Very true. It would be a slow build for both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not. It's so hard to find channels with like 5 or 6 views or 30 views, 40 views here, 40 views there.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd have to get to know their content and create questions surrounding their content and so on and so forth.
Yeah, very true.
And
let's just email PewDiePie and see if he's interested in coming on the show.
that would I feel like that would be the kind of thing that would get us like 500,000 views, and then the next video would have like 300,000 views, and it would eventually trickle down to about 100 views per video.
maybe.
I've seen that happen so many times on
I don't know. Something like that though, it would fucking just inject us into the algorithm so hard that like you know,
it would,
that we would, as long as we got that, like if we got a poll like that, we would have to jump on it to keep people around. But like, what a massive help.
Yeah.
Because I do think we're interesting. It's just getting ourselves out there.
Yeah. I think the answer for now lies within the marketing of ourselves and a second shorter show. You know?
Yeah. A shorter show? Yeah. I was thinking about the time limit because our most viewed video is an hour and a half long. And then we've got kind of an hour to 2 hours. We're over 2 hours now, so this is going to be our longest one. But I think I've heard people say that an hour and a half is the place to be for long form content.
Yeah.
Because it exists in a perfect, I guess I've got enough time for that kind of sphere. But I just really don't want to limit myself that way.
No, I like to feel really good and organic. And I feel like, because I make Sunday night my homework night, and I feel like this 6 o'clock time frame is much better for me.
Okay.
Because I don't feel stressed out anymore. I feel slightly stressed, but I know what I'm going to have to do, and it's just...
I mean, we could change it again if you're still not comfortable with it.
No, it's cool. It's when it comes to anxiety with starting anything, I always tell people the first step is always the hardest.
Yeah.
Like, once you get over that first step and everything starts snowballing, it's fine. So it's just doing it.
Yeah. Maybe...
Yeah.
I wonder if I could just do, like, kind of a nice-looking cartoony characters instead of chalkboard. I don't know.
I noticed avatars are really popular with a lot of channels.
Yeah, and our avatar is just our logo, which is kind of boring. I like the shape of it, but maybe the colors are not good. They're better than the colors I initially came up with. Fuck, do you remember how our logo used to look?
It was like orange or some shit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like orange and purple. Like, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
Yeah. Like,
now that I look at my subscription feed, there are a fucking lot of purple avatars. But I don't know.
It's weird.
Yeah, ours definitely stands out, like in a bad way.
I don't know, like the Pac-Man aesthetic, I really like it.
I kind of do too.
But I at the same time,
but if it's you can't even tell it's Pac-Man on the, like, in my subscription feed, like, it's our avatar is too small to even read that it says ClapTrap.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So.
I think the channel's like little tiny logo thing is kind of bleh. I think it works for now, but I don't think it's that important. We really ought to do a channel intro, like an intro video, the channel trailer. We ought to do that.
I think the best way to do that is to, after a few episodes, do a compilation of us like saying wacky shit.
Or do some stupid bullshit when I come up this Saturday.
Yeah.
Because we really only need like a 60-second trailer. It's a trailer. I mean, it could be 30 seconds. Who cares? You know, I don't care. As long as it's whatever.
Beautiful.
It's whatever, man. It's all just one big whatever.
Gay. If we had a mascot, what would it be?
If we had a mascot?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Let me pull up the dictionary definition of what ClapTrap is.
I hope it says a pretty dope podcast, but no subscribers.
Absurd or nonsensical talk or ideas. Fucking something absurd, nonsensical. A jester, a bard.
Your favorite things.
Let's just Google image nonsense.
You're just gonna get a bunch of squiggly lines and colors.
Yeah. Nonsensical cartoon. What am I looking at? It's nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, I didn't think there would be anything worth seeing there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just a bunch of clip art. Oh, there's Donald Trump.
I saw that. And if I type in stupid...
Oh, hey, here's a jester. How about that?
If I type in stupid stuff, I just get trash memes from 2010.
Donald Trump.
Oh, man.
Oh, here's a podcast. The Just Plain Nonsense Podcast. Get out of here, you fakers. Okay, let's start a turf war with these guys, and that'll be good for clicks.
No, I don't wanna. Oh Lord, I want to maintain some level of artistic integrity.
Yeah.
I think self-respect is a much less pretentious way of saying that.
Dude, we can respect ourselves after we get that YouTube money, dude.
Oh Lord, I've actually I thought about starting to stream again to try to promote the podcast. Like, I got to thinking about it. It's like, what do I play? Because what is the one game that I'm just good at? And the answer was Mega Man and Bass. a Super Nintendo game that I have sunk hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours in, and I know every little thing about.
We should put up some Let's Plays on this channel that are you and me playing together.
Mm-hmm.
And, because that's not like a sustainable form on YouTube anymore. If you're not already a big Let's Play channel, I think you're probably not going to become one.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, you can, but the odds are stacked against you.
We could stream on YouTube.
But, like, it's something people know. So it might bring in some people for, like, the content that we are actually creating.
Mm-hmm.
So...
we could stream on YouTube.
And it would be fun. Yeah, we could.
Like, we could stream, like, something... I don't even know what we would stream. Like, there's just... I feel like...
games.
I guess. What would even... like? It would have to be like an MMO or something. Something low...
Why would it have to be an MMO? No, let's just play a game, dude.
God, what would we...
Let's just do some Game Grumps styled stuff.
Mm-hmm. God,
I mean, you can say you don't like the Game Grumps, but like...
I love the Game Grumps. I do too. Like, I'm just such a chill and mellow guy that screaming and getting excited at a game just doesn't seem like...
Well, we don't have to fucking scream at it. We can just talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hell, I'll just play something and I'll be an asshole about it and you can talk at me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be our Aaron Hansen.
Would you want to start an RPG or something?
Maybe. Fucking... I don't know. Starting out, maybe something that's, like, interesting to, like... Fuck. I was thinking about some ideas the other day, actually. I can't fucking remember any now.
Fucking, let's play RuneScape.
Let's play RuneScape. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Let's play RuneScape.
Now, any viewers who would come for RuneScape would just fucking roast us for not knowing all the analytics off the top of our heads.
Just play old school RuneScape. That's it, man. Just play some old school RuneScape together.
Oh, I wanted to play some old SNES games.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Have you heard of Illusion of Gaia?
Mm-hmm.
I got halfway through that game and never finished it. And that would be fun. That would be a good excuse for me to finally finish that game.
From the Soul Blazer series?
I'm not sure. It's part of some weird series, but yeah.
I think
that's the only game I ever played of it.
I think I've played a little of that franchise. I'm not sure. I think I have.
We could play that. We should play some popular games too. Like nothing that's like AAA titles, but like I don't know, fucking let's play Mario Galaxy or some shit like that. That would be fun to just like as a set piece to talk.
Yeah. We could.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I don't know. There's still the problem of we'd be playing over the computer though for consistent content, and I don't think emulators could do that.
Yeah, I don't like. It wouldn't be consistent content because our consistent content is the podcast. So
Yeah,
like
we
whenever we get together, we can just record some gameplay footage and cut it up into 20-minute chunks or something.
That's very true.
So but yeah, we could just sit down and play for 5 hours and be good for a while. So
That would be. You should just every night just stream Oblivion on YouTube.
we have to play Oblivion. Oh my god, we have to play Oblivion together.
I don't even think your computer could handle a streaming of Oblivion.
Dude, we could play a console version.
We could. I'm looking up how much that shit costs on like Steam and GOG. $20.
It can't be that expensive. Yeah.
It's $20 for the GOTY.
I would drop that just to own a copy of Oblivion again.
I offered like 7 times to buy you an Xbox copy for $8, but you kept like.
I mean, because just for playing it, I have it on my computer now, actually.
Yeah.
And it can run it, but streaming it too, probably not.
Yeah. That's why I suggested old school RuneScape, because anybody could stream old school RuneScape and be happy with it.
Right. I have access. I would have to borrow Bailey's laptop, but she's got a pretty good laptop that could do a game capture for us. And soon I will have a good laptop also. Fucking it's on my list, but whatever.
Whose computer would we stream it from? I think ideally right now it would have to be. I would have to be the source computer. Because like.
But your computer is a desktop. You can't bring it up here with you.
Can't I?
I guess you could, but it would be a hell of a thing.
Yeah, it would risk damaging it. I don't trust it.
Yeah.
I think we'll see. It's a whole lot of we'll see. But
yeah.
I don't know.
I think we're boring now. I think we've talked too long.
Yeah, I think we're just chilling and brainstorming and hanging out at this point.
Yeah.
So I guess with that, I'll wrap it up on our longest episode ever.
No, you can't because you haven't picked next week's topic.
Oh yeah. So what? I'm notorious for picking the good topics.
Is that right?
That's right.
You're notorious for picking like the fucking nerd topics, dude.
The what topics?
The nerd topics.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's look at your topics. World building, then comics versus manga, then role-playing games.
Oh, yes.
I'm noticing a trend. I'm noticing a real trend here.
So, what would be something we could... the video game industry.
The video game industry?
As an entity. The video game industry as an entity.
Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah, we could talk about that.
I think that's something I could talk about because it's really easy to praise Nintendo, trash EA, and criticize Bethesda.
Yeah.
I think all of those things are very easy to do. So,
right, then next week we'll do just that.
All right, so you picked the topic. Why don't you take us out properly?
What was today's topic?
Jobs.
Oh, okay.
We talked about it for about an hour.
Yeah, we did, but then we just talked about ourselves for another hour. Oh, nobody's gonna fucking listen to this. This episode sucks.
I think the first half of it was really good.
It was, but then people are gonna click away, which is fine, I guess.
That's whatever.
So, thank you for listening to ClapTrap. I quit.